Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Apple cider vinegar? What? Let's go! What's going on, all you scallywags and nutmeggers? It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. I'm scrambling around here because I want to thank the good folks over at the Master School for hosting your friendly neighborhood Reese on the radio, and all those wonderful young people who I hope I inspired to at least listen to talk radio. There was one young man, Roland, and he had a lot of questions because I kind of opened it up to the floor on my talk today at the Master School. And there was one young man, he had the most questions. Once I opened up the floor, he couldn't wait to ask a question. But he asked the one question where I almost said to myself, all right, you little runt. You were really he was really trying to get me to show my age. He almost asked me, Roland, what's a radio? I felt, what? What do you mean, what's a radio? It was sort of like that question. I'm kidding. No, the kids were great. They were fantastic. And I want to give a special shout out to Leland. We'll talk about him later. By the end of it, I was telling all of his teachers they need to fail him because he got Reese on the radio to well up and cry. Boy, did he. I also want to talk about Abigail, who I met as well. So many kids from the Aria Choir were there. They spoke up. It was nice to see them. Talked to a couple of young boys on the basketball team. I love that some of the conversation really resonated with them. The basketball players really resonated with the having to lose in order to learn. And one of the young men stepped up and says, I looked at him and I saw them chattering, and I said, yes, you, young man. I said, I saw him. I didn't want to call him out and be like, you don't want to share with the class? But I just called him out, and he was like, yeah, I was just listening to what you're saying because we're on a hot streak right now. And, when you said that about losing one, we got a real tough game coming up, and we were all sort of nodding our heads when you said that. It's like the loss is what really gets you, and gets you motivated. And I was like, that made me feel good. That when I was saying that, they resonated immediately with that. It lets you know whether or not you're having any success talking to young people. Because when you're old, you kind of go, what are these kids listening to? But they were listening. I'll talk about a little bit about it in a minute. Stand by for that. They posted something about it at the Master School. I'm also going to share it on my Facebook page so you can see it. I look pretty good. Roseanne saw it. She is so overwhelmed with joy. And thank you, sweetheart, for that. She's probably in the chat room at YouTube now, along with a whole bunch of other people. Anyway, we got to get into it because it's all anyone is talking about online. And I tell you folks, I don't like to get into these conversations about stuff that's gone viral or is completely consumed the news media. I try to ignore that stuff like the plague. But this one got me thinking. And there's so much to unpack here. And I posted on Facebook today, follow your instincts. I posted it on X too. Follow your instincts. They will not betray you. All of us have that one thing. Call it being cynical or whatever, suspicious. But just trust your instincts. Now, I am not here to tell you that Ilhan Omar or as many are calling her, Ilhan Smollett, is pulling a fast one on you. I'm not here to say that what happened to her was false, phony, and fake. Not here to do that. I know all of you have already decided, especially if you're of an ideological bent, more towards my way, or you are saying, it was staged. But I'm going to say, chill. It's no big deal. It's not a big deal. And I will explain to you why. If it's real, there's a bigger problem here. If it's fake, there's not that much of a problem to us. Let's start with the obvious. If you haven't heard, some of you are going, what are you talking about, Reese? Ilhan Omar, who has been pretty much kind of in the public view because of the fact that she has a husband whose income, along with hers, went from some $65,000 to a whopping $30, maybe $40 million in a year. They own a wine company, allegedly, that is boosted in revenue, even though you can't buy wine on the website. Even though Ilhan Omar is a Muslim, a devout Muslim, who, according to her religion, cannot consume alcohol, thought, that's the business I want to open, get everybody else drunk. But whatever, okay, all of that aside. We know that in her state, a town that she represents, that plenty of Somalians in the area have been ripping off the taxpayers to the tune of $9, maybe $20 billion. And she has, she's got herself in the crosshairs politically, in the news media. All eyes are on her. So when she has pretty much been mum's the word, not answering questions publicly, kind of staying out of the public eye, she decides to have a town hall to call for the resignation of, why am I forgetting her name now? Whatever. Doesn't matter. She's calling for the resignation of the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. And which, again, should say, wait a minute, Ilhan, you already got people focusing on you. You're in the news media. Christy Nome. Jesus, why did I forget it? I apologize for using the Lord's name in vain. Christy Nome. Anyway, why are you out in the public? You've already got the heat on you. Stay in the background. You, Keith Ellison, you guys need to stay off the TV. Let Jacob Frey and Tim Walz get all the media attention, screaming about Anne Frank and the Holocaust. Yeah, let them do that. But Ilhan, you have too many eyes on you right now. Stay in the background. But no, she holds this very public town hall. For what? To call for the resignation of Christy Nome and the removal of ICE. Okay. Even though you are the person who's being pretty much attributed as a part of the scam of stealing taxpayer dollars to the tune of $9, maybe $20 billion. It doesn't seem like a smart PR room for you to be out there, but you've decided to. I'm not going to call Ilhan Omar a brilliant actor in all of this. She's not. And then this guy sitting in the front. Does he look nervous? Maybe. He's drinking an awful lot of water. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he jumps up and he sprays what can only be described as a turkey baster. Just applaud him. I'm sorry. He sprays a turkey baster, squirt, squirt, onto Ilhan Omar, saying, you need to resign, to where he's tackled to the ground, but not before Ilhan Omar herself decides that she is going to get into a fisticuffs with a guy twice her size. And she's cursing up a storm. Bleepily flip-flarm flilf. While this is happening. And a couple of things come to my mind as I watch it. Here are a few. One, Ilhan Omar is literally one of the most volatile political people in the public square since Donald Trump. She's got a hell of a lot of haters. She does. And she knows it. Right now, her town is in the middle of political scandal. Everybody's coming after her. And not one person on her staff has ever made mention to the amount of death threats or physical threats to Ilhan Omar. They say they're there, but we haven't heard one about them. Also, Ilhan Omar, if she is going to be attacked, a likelihood that seems quite certain because of how volatile of a public figure she is, you would think security would be a little faster. Fine. But Ilhan Omar gets sprayed with a turkey baster. Knowing everything I just told you, it is not a secret. And we are in an atmosphere where a bullet killed Charlie Kirk, a bullet grazed the ear of Donald Trump, and 2 rabble-rousers were shot and killed in the streets of Minnesota. And when Ilhan Omar gets a turkey baster squeezed on her, no one rips off the, the sweater that she's wearing or gets her medical aid. She doesn't even scream, "Oh my God, he sprayed chemicals on me." She wants to get right back to her speech. Knowing, or what I would assume, not knowing what chemical agent she's been hit with. Precaution rules the day once that happens. Stranger gets up in the front seat, nobody's vetted the guy, turkey baster off, liquid on her sweater. No, I want to get back to my speech. Even while people are saying, no, he sprayed you with something. No, we got to go. We got to get a hospital. We got to find out what it is. Everybody else is concerned, but not Ilhan Omar. No, she's got to get back to her speech, knowing damn well that this has been a political attack against her. She has no interest in finding out what she was sprayed with. A Muslim woman who knows that Muslim women are often attacked with chemical agents in and around the Muslim world. And she does nothing. Can I tell you what I really believe happened once she got sprayed with the chemical agent? Squirt, squirt. What was that? What did he spray on me? Apple cider vinegar. No, I recognize that. I think that's Heinz. That's right, folks. He sprayed apple cider vinegar. That's what he sprayed on her. Why? What purpose would that have been for? Was he trying to scare her? Was that his tactic? Was he really not trying to hurt her, just sort of trying to... I mean, it's a felony, folks. It's a felony to attack a sitting member of Congress. He knows that. He understands it. I went through Homeboy's social media history. You want to know what I found? Interesting things. A person who was so irate to probably wait for a long time to get into that town hall with Ilhan Omar. Packed room. Got up in the front seat. Probably got there hours before it took place. Just so he could be there, so he can stage his attack. And I look on social media, and there's barely a drop about Ilhan. Barely. anywhere. In fact, he goes months at a time without posting anything. James Hodgkins, was that his name? James Hodgkins or Hodgkinson? I think that was his name. The man who shot Steve Scalise in Arlington. What did his social media show? That man was a little older than this guy. I think Hodgkinson was in his 60s. He drove all the way down from the Illinois area all the way to Alexandria, Virginia, lie in wait for days for Republicans to show up at the baseball diamond where they were practicing so he can kill Republicans. His social media was crawling with things about politics. His favorite person, the guy he volunteered for, was Bernie Sanders. His favorite television host was Rachel Maddow. But this guy, couple of Trump posts here and there. I mean, we're talking like barely a footprint. Also, I find out that there's pictures of this father of what, 2? Apparently, he's got children who are members of the LGBTQ community. Now, that's not a smoking gun, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of people who are conservatives, MAGA folks even, whose children are a part of that group, that community. It's not like that's far afoot. Huh? Look at Roseanne. Look at myself. We don't talk to those people, but whatever, just saying. Plenty of folks who are MAGA folks have children and people in that community. They sure enough are. And I'm saying to myself, that's weird. That's weird. That this guy, who it appears has a daughter, pink hair and all, would attack a woman. Even as a MAGA person, that seems weird to me. And dare I say, the most important part of this, clumsy. I want you to go back and watch the video during the break. And I want you to look at how clumsy everything is. But do not look at the main characters. Look at everyone else around them. What you won't realize usually in something like that is that you will pinpoint your focus on Ilhan Omar and Turkey Baster while missing everything that's happening around it. That's where the pickpocket happens, in the distraction. Go watch the video again. Let me know if you see what I know I saw. That's why I said it was clumsy. And it may turn out to be exactly what I think it's going to be. Let's just say bogus. But aside from that, when we get back, if Ilhan Omar did stage this, she did the dumbest thing ever at even the dumbest time. When we get back, go nowhere. It's Reese on the radio.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio live on WTIC News Talk 1080. Don't forget, whenever you get a chance, go to WTIC.com. If you can't go there, go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com to check out the program. We love to have you folks online checking out the show. Plus, can I tell you a little secret? I have my own little competition going on with the other programs here. I haven't told them about it, okay, because they don't even know. But I have my own little personal competition. And the more you download the show, the more I get to brag about it. But I never tell the other guys, like I don't tell Brian that I'm actually trying to beat him, with the downloads. It's just a little thing that I have. I don't know. I'm competitive like that without being competitive. Like I'm the person who will compete against you, but never tell you that I'm competing against you. So just go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. No, actually go to WTIC.com and then download the show or listen to the show. If you can't, you know what I'm saying? So we get the numbers up and then we can have bragging rights, even though we never ever tell anybody that we're bragging. Okay? WTIC.com. I noticed something that no one ever pays attention to in stories like this with Ilhan Smollett. And if you guys are paying attention, you probably saw it too. When events like this happen, there's what we call the hierarchy of social justice and the news media. I used to have a totem pole that I used to sort of weigh or lay out for people to understand. Of course, at the bottom of this totem pole is white Christian male. He is the lowest of the low. He gets nothing. No comeuppance, no power, no prestige, no love. He is worthless on this whole totem pole. And at the top of that totem pole is transgender woman of color with a disability. So imagine a paraplegic RuPaul. That person would be at the top of the totem pole. That person has all the prestige, all the importance on that totem pole. And in between there, you have to find out where you fit in. See, me, I'm just above white woman. Just above. I'm sorry, it is. White women are sitting up there going, really? The black guy is above? I'm sorry, we just are. Just above. We're always competing, by the way. And the reason why white women have gone down a peg, it's the Karens. You did it to yourself. Karen's ruined it. When you guys get rid of the Karen thing, we'll be back down. You guys are back up. Okay? But straight black males, we're okay. You want to know why? Because we can still be shot by police, according to the totem pole. This is not about facts. This is about the totem pole. Being a black male, we are subjected to, racist cops. You white women, nobody has a wine spritzer for you at a party? That's what I mean. I'm just saying. I'm totally kidding, ladies. Totally kidding. Anyway, Alex Pretti was dominating the headlines before yesterday, wasn't he? Isn't he the reason why Ilhan Omar was having a press conference in the first place, asking for the resignation, if not firing, of Kristi Noem? About the removal of Bovino? About the removal of ICE from her city? All of that was about the death of Alex Pretti. And then Ilhan Omar gets sprayed by a turkey baster with apple cider vinegar. It was inventive. I know that taste. Is that apple cider? Yeah. I've used it before. It's Heinz. Yes, it comes from Heinz. That's why she kept the sweater on. She says, no, I'm okay. It's just apple cider. Yeah, it's apple cider vinegar. I'm good. Ilhan, it might be laced with something. No, it's not. No, it's not. We talked about it. We were going to go with ketchup, but it wouldn't go through. Yeah, it wouldn't spray the distance. Those turkey basters are weird. Anyway. Now Ilhan Omar is the story. In the hierarchy of oppression, she is a black, Muslim, female, and immigrant. Alex Pretti doesn't stand a chance. Alex Pretti is dead. And in the hierarchy of oppression, Ilhan Omar's weird stunt with a turkey baster is all the rage. And that's why I say that everything about this group is stupid. It's just dumb. You have got so much momentum with the Alex Pretti story. And I'm not saying it's real momentum. At least in the news cycle, it's all anyone could talk about. Be it Fox News, be it the blogger sphere, all of it. It is all anyone could talk about. And then you get Bovino gone. You get Tom Homan in. Trump is, of course, giving everybody the impression he is going to tone it down a little bit. Yeah, we need to calm down the tension. People are suggesting that Donald Trump is caving. This is a win for them. In their eyes, that's all that's what the atmosphere is. That's all they can talk about. The New York Times is suggesting it. The Wall Street Journal is suggesting it. The Washington Post is it. Donald Trump caves. Drugs report. Rattled. And then Ilhan Omar sucks the oxygen out of the room. Attacked. Ilhan Omar attacked. And it's an opportunity to save her. Because everybody knows that she's got a heavy load that is weighing her down. That is the Somalian piracy of Minnesota. And this is an opportunity for her to get some empathy and some sympathy and people to leave her alone and change the narrative against her. Especially after that story came out that the Biden administration was looking into her too. Whoa! Bipartisan investigations into Ilhan Omar? That's why everybody says this looks clumsy. Story comes out that it's not the Trump administration because guess what? You don't have the so-called retribution of the Trump administration to hang your hat on anymore. Now it's, you mean old Joe was looking into Ilhan Omar? That's wild. So then it doesn't look like a witch hunt anymore. Right? Clearly it doesn't. So to the rest of us, and that's where the skepticism is coming in, you're saying to yourself, okay, listen, we're going to get you a spot in the first seat. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're going to have the turkey baster? Okay, fine. Turkey baster? Yes. And you got to put in something that has a strong scent. Strong scent. No, not ammonia. No, that's dangerous. It could get in my eye. It'll burn my kufi. I don't want to do, no. Something strong, but something less dangerous. You know what? Hold on. I know I have something around here. Listen, here, use this. And again, the other giveaway is this is a chemical attack. According to everybody, this is a chemical attack. One person who clearly is not in on it, in my view. And again, this is all speculative. Before anybody says it's fact, this is my speculation. You have one person who is screaming, no, we have to get you to the hospital. We have to find out what he sprayed on you. No. Ilhan is, again, she can capitalize on this by calling it a threat. Unless she knows she's going to get to the hospital and somebody's going to go, no, it's apple cider vinegar. Sorry. She can't control that. She cannot control that narrative. If she calls the paramedics, that's an outside source coming in. They are impartial here. They come in, they test it, they go, oh, it's nothing. She can't control it anymore. It's out of her hands. Then everybody else writes it off. If she fights, if she pushes back, no, I'm going to talk. I'm going to speak. She thought she was Donald Trump. She thought she was having her fight moment. It's funny how they all hate Donald Trump, but they all want to be like him. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? I mean, you would think how stupid it is for Ilhan Omar to pull a Trump a la, Baker, Pennsylvania, to her constituents who can't stand Trump and not think that they would recognize she was trying to be Trump. You're talking about a party who saw Donald Trump rise up after that bullet grazes his ear and give that iconic fight, fight, fight with the photograph, which is now, forget about it, probably the most circulated photograph in the history of the world outside of the Zabuta film and the death of John F. Kennedy. And all of her constituents who all said, roundly said, damn, he's going to win because of this. It was, in essence, Joe Biden's undoing that photograph. July 13th of 2024 was the dismantling of the Joe Biden campaign. He was out a week later, ladies and gentlemen. Even his own staffer said, oh my God, Trump's going to win, after he stood up and said, fight, fight, fight. They all knew it. And if Ilhan Omar did stage this and staged her own fight, fight, fight moment to mimic Donald Trump, the person who they hate, you guys should be ashamed of you. You should be ashamed of her. You should ask for her resignation yesterday. But published reports already confirm the apple cider vinegar bandit does indeed have two left-wing LGBTQ kids. It's like Christmas morning, and the gifts just keep getting unwrapped. We'll see. Maybe we'll learn something new in the next hour. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Let me tell you, I love you guys. Nothing is better than some of the stuff you guys write. Rama says, assuming this was staged, couldn't they get a whiter guy from Central Casting? It would help with the white supremacy motif. Of course it would. This guy totally doesn't fit the motif. He doesn't fit he doesn't fit the profile at all. And John Beckman said, so Omar was only being basted. Yes. She was being basted. Todd O says, hashtag Ilhan Smollett. And I'm loving that, by the way. Also, Larry M says from Yes, Larry, by the way, you're very, very funny. I love you, Larry. He says, it's like the game of Clue. Colonel Mustard did it with the turkey baster in the library. That's one of my favorite movies, by the way, Clue. And again, and they confirmed, Hazmat is confirmed, it was apple cider vinegar. And that's got to be embarrassing. It should be. It absolutely should be. Let's go to the phones before we get to the top of the hour. Jim is in Waterbury. Hi, Jim. How are you? Oh, yeah, there you go. Jim, what's up? No? Is he not there? It is. Oh, it's not? Oh, okay, maybe he's not there then. Okay, well, he was never there. My bad. I figured I'd just take him. Yeah, so we're going to find out a whole lot more about this guy. By the way, this was my tell, if I can sort of reveal what it was. I went to go search everything I could about this guy. And it just seemed odd that his footprint began or sort of started sporadically in 2021. It just didn't make any sense. Ilhan Omar was not a sort of a point of reference. Sure, there were people rumbling about her. But this guy, with all of the rumbling about Ilhan Omar, especially with the whole married her brother allegation, this guy wasn't on that. He wasn't. It was like, that's the biggest Ilhan Omar trope. This guy had nothing to do with that. He wasn't even excited about it to the point where he posted on it at all. And that, again, and you guys always get on me about this. I don't say it if it doesn't really make sense to me. What happens with the Renee Good thing, right? I told you, why'd she drive? Doesn't make sense. she left her wife there? She wasn't doing anything? And then, of course, the video tape proves otherwise. That's how it goes. I think Jim is back. How are you, Jim?
Yeah, good. Hey, Reese.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I forgot to mention here, my buddy had the exact same car you want to buy.
Which one is that one?
Ago.
Oh, you mean the 1960s Lincoln Continental with the hard top drop?
No, wasn't you going to buy a Chrysler?
Oh, the Sebring.
Yeah, because he had nothing but trouble with oil leaks. They could never find
Really?
why the oil was leaking. So I ended up doing a lot of research. I picked up a 2013 Toyota Tacoma off-road package for $10,000 less than what was online for the basic.
Holy moly. Well, we actually ended up passing on the Sebring. We were going to grab it, but then we passed on it. We figured, we'd find something somewhere else. This guy who we usually buy cars from, he even told us he didn't want to sell it to us. So
you need a four-wheel or all-wheel drive.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that, especially around here.
I've been in a DAV system, being a Vietnam veteran for Agent Orange. Guys need to be tested every 10 years. I was in the system 13 years. They dropped the ball on me. Now, because of their negligence, I am on a stage 4 prostate cancer.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, I pray for you, man.
And it was a civilian doctor that picked it up. So I got no trust in the VA. So guys 40 years old, please get tested every year.
That's a very good public service. Thank you for that, man. Godspeed. We're praying for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good call. Yeah, that's always important. I think about that all the time. Get tested. Whew. Wow, that's rough. You don't want to hear that about anyone. I hope it's stage 4. That's never good. And I don't know. I try to remain hopeful when I hear stuff like that. Everybody else was like, "Oh, stage 4, be careful." I'm like, "Oh." I try to be hopeful, even though sometimes people tell me, Reese, you have to be realistic, and I'm trying to be but at the same time, I want to put my faith in, something greater or better. So I just will. Anyway, that just took the wind out of me. When we come back, I got to talk about a couple of things. Bill Belichick, I'm going to talk about that in the 4 o'clock hour. That thing is kind of frightening. I want to ask Roland about the Bill Belichick thing. Somebody posted something online as it relates to him and Shedeur Sanders. And I want to get his take on it because he's been following Shedeur as he's been playing for the Cleveland Browns. So we're going to talk about that, and, of course, the Hall of Fame with Bill Belichick later on. Also, a weird story. Apparently, there is a new Dr. Death other than Dr. Kevorkian. And this guy has a newfangled suicide pod. We'll talk about that as well. Stick around. Let's get to the newsroom with John Silver. It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
A lot of times these news stories just inundate the show, and I don't know if I've told you this, of those of you who may be just tuning in for the first time, you're driving through the state and you listen to Reese on the radio and you're just like, who's this guy? And if you just started listening regularly and you've never heard this before, just so you know, I like to get away from the news cycle now and again. I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I get, Rush Limbaugh's rules for radio when, they may have heard the story, but they haven't heard you talk about it. I get it. But I've usually, at this point, I wait until somebody calls me and asks me my opinion on them. I think I've said enough. So there was another story that I wanted to get to because I'm starting to notice a pattern in the news cycle that people are not paying attention to. And it is creeping up on us. It's like mission creep. And I need to go back a little to sort of lay the groundwork here. Ronna McDaniel, do you remember that woman? Former head of the RNC, Republican National Committee. When she was finally ousted, she got a job over at NBC News. And when I was here filling in, before I became official, I talked about that moment with such disgust at what NBC News did on air. I couldn't believe it. For those of you who don't remember, Ronna McDaniel gets the job. NBC News, which is supposed to be an objective news provider to its audience, the reporters and the employees had an all-out revolt. Chuck Todd, Kristen Stewart, everybody they were on air admonishing the brass, the people who signed their paychecks. NBC ended up folding and ending their relationship with Ronna McDaniel. McDonald? Whatever. Who doesn't matter. She's gone. And the first thing I said was, what? Now, could you imagine if we here at the network had, let's say, hired Chris Murphy to do, I don't know, a weekly bit on a Saturday, Sunday even. And myself, Morgan Cunningham, Mark Christopher, we had all said, hell no, you can't hire him. This is absolute disrespect to this network. And it gone on air and it done that? If the brass had turned around and said to Chris Murphy, you know, it's creating too much of a controversy. We're gonna sever ties. But you know what? We'll pay you whatever it is that we signed on the contract. And you could, just take the paycheck and go on your merry way. I would have looked around and said, whoa. I would be really, really nervous about that. That the employees have more power than the people who employed them? Like, I pluck you out of the job market. Hey, come work for me. I want you to do this, that, and the third. And then after I hire you, you get on the air and you ridicule me and my business decisions. I made a business decision to hire you, bozo. Now you're going to get on the air and you're going to question my wherewithal to hire folks and then demand that I do something about it? And I couldn't believe it. But there it was. There it was. The New York Times had a similar situation. Tom Cotton wanted to write an op-ed. The network, the newspaper revolted. It led to an editor-in-chief having to resign. I'm sitting up here going, what? These people own nothing. They didn't create a thing other than their articles, but they can tell the bosses what to do. Then I see this article. Apple CEO Tim Cook. This guy's almost a trillionaire. Apple CEO Tim Cook addresses employee backlash after attending private White House screening of Melania documentary. Apple CEO Tim Cook sent an internal memo to staff expressing that he was heartbroken by the fatal shooting of ICU nurse Alex Pretti by federal agents in Minneapolis, which occurred hours before he attended a private White House screening for the dinner for the documentary Melania on Saturday night. The event, which included other tech executives like Amazon's Andy Jassy and Zoom's Eric Yuan, drew criticism online from some Apple employees and customers due to its timing amid protests over the incident and broader concerns about immigration enforcement. Critics highlighted Cook's presence alongside figures like the film's director, Brett Ratner, who has faced past misconduct allegations and called for boycotts of Apple products. Good luck with that. Good luck. If somebody came out with the Apple turd, you folks would wait around the corner to buy it. Slow down. What are you going to do, end up in Android? Nice try, bozos. In the memo, Cook reportedly called for a de-escalation, noted discussions with President Trump on the matter, and emphasized the need for careful navigation in challenging times. The screening was part of a promotional push for the Amazon-funded film about the First Lady, set for a wider release soon. This version tones down the dramatic phrasing, scrambles to save face for partying. I'm like, listen, you make Apple. You make Apple products, but you are not Apple. If you had said openly, if I found out that you work for me and you were talking crap about my business decisions, I would march my behind right down to your cubicle. And I would look at him and say, yo, pack it up. All of it. All of it. Every bit of it. Get your bump out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. In fact, don't call here for a reference. Seriously, get out. I don't want you calling me for anything. You'll be lucky if you're driving Uber. I'll talk to the CEO over there, too. I can't believe these people. I can't believe any of these people. But, folks, do not get the impression, because I know there are some business owners out there who are saying to themselves, is this new? Like, is this something you're going to have to deal with? Can I tell you why you're seeing stories like this? You're going to see them. Remember Netflix was doing that with Dave Chappelle? There's a reason why you're doing this. The framework has been sort of set. That's what this is about. The framework is supposed to be telling you that the socialist dream is upon us, where the employees have a stake in the direction of the company, that they get to be the moral authority at your business, and they get to use this sentiment of backlash about your moves to get you to acquiesce. That's what Tim Cook, and again, he doesn't want to seem like, oh, I don't want to appear that I'm not understanding what my employees feel. I don't know about you, but I've never worked on a job where anybody cared about what my social standing was, what my political views were. I don't remember one person ever caring about that. And if I ever told them about it, they would laugh at me. We don't talk about that here at work. Get back to your desk. Go make me some money. I remember Paul Malamet. I said this to him. I know I've told you this story before. It was, what was they don't even celebrate it anymore. Is it still a thing? Roland, I hate to ask you. I'm going to stereotype you. Do they still do Black Solidarity Day? Is that still a thing?
I've never heard of that.
You never heard of it?
No.
Oh, my goodness.
Black Solidarity Day?
Yes. Apparently it's a thing. Well, it was.
I've never heard of that.
You've never heard of it. Okay. If you can you look it up real quick?
Yeah.
When it lands? So we're at the office one day, and myself and Lydia, who were the only black people who worked at this office at Logistics Worldwide. And Lydia and I were just, everybody in the office, because it's a small company of about 8 people altogether that work there. We had a really, really sort of family relationship there. Everybody really loved and cared about one another. And one day, Lydia is walking through the hallway, and I'm there, and Paul, our boss, the CEO of the company, walks by. And we had such an honest and open and fun relationship with Paul. I jokingly said to Paul, who's Jewish, by the way, I say to him, hey, Paul, do Lydia and I get a day off for Black Solidarity Day? And he jokingly looks at me and says, well, no. And I went, no, what do you mean? Said, we don't get off for Black Solidarity Day? Why not? He goes, well, not black. And I went, oh, okay. I said, well, what about a Jewish holiday like Yom Kippur or Rosh Hashanah? Can we get a day off from there? And he goes, no. And I go, why not? You're Jewish. And he goes, but you're not. Which I thought was so cold. I thought that was so cold. He was like, you're not Jewish.
I guess they still do it. They
do.
Last year, Monday, November 3rd, and the theme was Meeting the Moment.
Okay, so November 3rd is when Black Solidarity Day is. How many years has it been in existence?
Looks like 1969.
Sounds about right. It's as old as me. And you said November?
Yeah, well, last year was November 3rd, Monday, November 3rd. It's always on a Monday.
It's always on a Monday. Monday, November 3rd. That's weird. That is very, very weird. November 7th. Tell me if I got this right. Sesame Street. November 7th or November 9th, 1969. Check that. I'm almost certain of that. I don't know why, but that for some odd reason that just popped into my head. That would have been an interesting time. I know I'm really, really close on that November date.
November 10th.
Oh, it's day off. I knew it was that week, though. So, okay, that's weird. Black Solidarity Day, that would have been, November 3rd on the first Monday of the month.
Yep.
Interesting. And they still celebrate it.
Yeah, they celebrated it last year.
I don't even remember. I don't think it's ever been on the calendar. You'd never.
I never heard of it.
We celebrate Juneteenth.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, and that was like 2020 when, people have been talking about it years before then, but it didn't become like national until the Biden administration, like a real date. Like they started making it federalize it.
Oh yeah, federal holiday.
Yeah, they made it a federal holiday in 2021, I'm almost certain. But that's wild because I remember Black Solidarity Day, since I was a kid, which makes sense, been there since 1969, the year of my birth.
They never taught it in schools, and when I was in school,
obviously it kind of went out of favor. Remember, Kwanzaa for a long time wasn't a big deal. The only time you ever heard about it, it was on the nightly news. Like somebody would mention it on the nightly news. Happy Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa was a big deal when I was in school.
Really?
Yeah.
Even in the South?
Yeah.
Really?
And up here too.
No, I never.
North and the South.
No,
I did a whole my junior year and senior year in high school. Matter of fact, my sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school, we did Kwanzaa performances.
Oh, Kwanzaa performances.
Yeah, I was in a dance group.
Oh goodness! Did you have to sing songs?
Yep.
Tell me, is there a song I would know?
No.
Were there African songs or just regular songs?
Yeah, well, both.
Both. Okay. Did you have to do
Umoji, Ujima, Ujama, Nia, Kumba, Imani, Kuji Gagulia? That was part of a song.
Okay. What about the what do you call it? What's called the Black National Anthem? Did you have to do that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What is that called? The Impossible Dream. Oh goodness gracious, I can't remember.
Then there was a Martin Luther King song too. So
it was a Martin Luther King song.
Yeah.
There's another one. Interesting.
Yeah, for Kwanzaa.
Oh, for Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they ever tell you about the guy who created it?
Created the song?
No, created Kwanzaa.
Oh no.
Never?
Well, if they did, I wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
I just loved the music portion of it.
Oh, okay. Do you know anything about him?
Nope.
Do you think you wanna?
Oh, not with that face you're making. not with the face you're making.
Let me just put it to you this way. The guy who created a holiday that celebrates black unity did it in jail while he was serving time for burning black women with cigarettes and irons.
What?
Yeah. Go look him up. Yeah. That's why, it's funny. This is like, people always say to us, like, why are you trying to disparage Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? I'm like, because when you kind of pull back the layers, it's always something. And I'm like, we can celebrate things. Look, if we want to celebrate black folks, we can. But they keep choosing the losers. This dude was a loser. And we're talking like this guy brutalized black women. And it's crazy that we got all these folks that are there, Happy Kwanzaa. And I'm like, every time I see it, I go, why are we not ashamed of that? Like, with all the power that black people like NAACP, the Urban League, even Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, why don't they tell these folks who keep promoting, it's like, yeah, guy, can we do somebody else?
Well, I would say sometimes it's not about the truth. It's more about the movement.
That's right. Hey, you know what? That's the line. Can I play it for you? I'm going to play it. I totally forgot about this, but I had the audio. Let me see if I can find it here. This is from that HBO show that I was telling you about with Robert Wall from who's in the movie. You saw the original Batman movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so the original Batman movie with Michael Keaton, you remember there was a reporter that worked with Vicky Vale? You got to remember the guy.
I don't know if I remember the reporter, Vicky Vale.
Yeah, well, the reporter, Vicky Vale is Kim Basinger.
Okay.
But the guy who worked with her was is an actor who used to do this show called Assume the Position, where he goes to college, goes to a college classroom to teach them about history. And this was the line that he says from Who Shot Liberty Vance? This is the line.
When the legend becomes fact, print the legend.
When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. And that's and the whole Liberty Vance is with Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne is Jimmy Stewart's character is believed to have killed Liberty Valance, the very, very rugged and dangerous outlaw. And he never did it. And at the end of the movie, he finally reveals that he never shot Liberty Vance. And he tells the story, and then after he tells him, the biographer rips up all the notes, and he goes, "All right, we're going to tell that story?" And he goes, "No, because when the legend becomes the facts, we print the myth."
Yeah,
that's how it goes. So Kwanzaa, invented by a very abusive guy,
but the movement has done a lot of positivity. So
I'm sure it has.
So you gotta. I think that's
okay. Well, you know what? I will say, I'll put it to you like this. That's like asking somebody, do we still celebrate a holiday if it was invented by Jeffrey Epstein? Tough question, huh?
It is, but you would have to say, what's the holiday, and dissect what that
does
means
Does the holiday supersede anything or any of the crimes Jeffrey Epstein does? Same deal with with Lance Armstrong, right? All the money he did with the yellow bracelets.
Yep.
And cancer research,
yep.
Even though he cheated, you have to ask yourself, does the organization have to suffer?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, a lot of let's be real frank and real clear.
Uh-huh.
Most of the things we've gotten from technology to cars to anything, it's been a lot of people that died for.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, you're right.
So when you think about all the things that we enjoy on a day-to-day basis, you had people that was poked in a lab for it. You had people that were tortured for it. You had people that were killed for it.
Yeah, some shady stuff out there.
A lot of bad things going on.
Rama says, "Hey, look, I'll still watch the Cosby Show despite Bill Cosby. I got to be honest, I'm not comfortable. I try. I watch every time I see a clip.
I saw one episode.
Yeah,
I saw one episode that did make me cringe a little bit.
Yeah,
he said something about I put something in the
drink,
in the Jello pudding or the pop or something like that, and I was like, oh man, that's kind of
this didn't age well.
That was bad.
Yeah. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
We're back. Reese on the radio here. I have plenty of stuff to talk about today and getting into that. By the way, if you want to pick up the phone and call, please do. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. In a little while, I'll talk about my talk at the Master School in, is it West Simsbury? I think that's it. Yeah, West Simsbury. I'll talk about that a little bit after this break. And then, of course, so much more on the show. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. So yesterday, I was looking at an old story that I have been dying to dive into. But I couldn't really get anywhere because it's taking place in Bridgeport. And because I don't really have an angle out in Bridgeport, I had been reluctant to reach out. So, of course, I utilized someone that I normally don't, even though he's probably the most suited to get me the information I want. And sure enough, he does every time. Adam 12, ladies and gentlemen. Kicking butt and taking names. I asked that guy 1 minute. I was like, you know what? I wish I could get in touch with this guy. 15 minutes later, he's got the guy's cell phone number. Adam 12 is the man. Couldn't ask for a better, like, buddy, bro, homie, G-Money Slice grip. Got a number that fast. So I got the number and I sent a text. I'm like, whoa, this guy's at the center of the story. Let me send a text. Send a text, send a picture. I said, hey, it's Reese on the radio. I know you want to talk, man. I know you want to talk. Please call me. I'd love to have you on the show. And in my head, I sent it last night. It wasn't too late. It was roughly about 8 o'clock. I wasn't feeling too well, so I really didn't even want to call back immediately. And I didn't even save the number in my phone because I thought that I was on a wild goose chase because Adam 12 he got the number too damn fast. He did. It wasn't 15 minutes after I asked. He had the guy's cell phone number. And I'm going, nope, it's no way it's going to be that fruitful. Adam 12 is good, but he ain't that good. Guess what, folks? He's that good. Shut up, Reese. You don't know what you're talking about. The man is a genius. Well, Adam, let me tell you this. That guy called me before the show. That's right. 15 minutes before the show, he called me. And that guy is Alfredo Castillo. You know, the guy who's now facing charges for election tampering? The one that they're accusing of lying about doing some shenanigans in the management. Yeah, he picked up the phone and he called. Oh, yes, he did. And we talked and we talked and we talked. Nothing that I can give away. We talked. We kept it off the record. But he told me some stuff. He said sometimes he was kind of going into nothing. But then I had to drill, hey, listen, I hated to have to do him dirty like that, but, that's all well and good. I get you got to plead your case. I totally get that, but I need the dirt. You mentioned somebody that, I need to know about. You made a mention of, my good friend, buddy, pal, homie, Chris Murphy. I'm understanding you got some goods. Now, I'll admit, I didn't get anything, not anything that was worth anything. Let me rephrase. I didn't get anything that's worthy for you to learn. Like, in essence, nothing that would benefit you. Because you guys want more than dirt. You want flesh. I get it. I didn't get any of that. But I will tell you this. This election come November, oh, baby, it's going to be so different. It's going to be so different. And there's some stories that happened in Bridgeport that nobody told you that I know now. And I did some research on, and boy, when I tell you this election's going to be different, you have no idea how different it's going to be. And it's got nothing to do with election fraud. It's got nothing to do with illegal voters or fraudulent voters. Nothing to do with it. This election is absolutely 180 degrees out of phase. And Democrats, I'm sorry to tell you, you brought this on yourself. Boy, you brought this on yourself. You took a big, fat, heaping one on the wrong folks. You made promises you couldn't keep, and you lied, and they are talking. Boy, are they talking. In some of the biggest cities. And it doesn't matter if you get out the vote. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. Your money is no good in the hood, as they say. And when I tell you it's no good, it's no good. And I'm going to utilize every bit of information that I got and I'm getting against you this election season. And I'm going to say this to Betsy McCoy. I'm going to say this to Ryan Fazio. And I'm going to say it to Aaron Stewart. And anyone Matt Corey, too. Anybody who's running on the Republican side, you better get to me. You better be in touch. Because the stuff that I am learning, you're going to want them. It's not even inside information. It isn't even inside information, but you wouldn't know because you wouldn't even think to reach out in the spaces that I'm reaching out. It's going to be so different. Night and day, so different. Oh, and I'm going to love every bit of it. I'm tinkling just a little bit. I'm just so excited. Oh, it's so beautiful. Frankie, baby, what do you got for me today?
I'll tell you what's beautiful. This gold is exploding.
I know.
300. But what's the message? $300 an ounce. What's the message?
Well, the message is buy gold, Frank. That's the only thing you ever talk about. It's like you're.
No, the message is this.
What's that?
Listen carefully.
Yes.
The message is this.
Yes.
The dollar's dead. It's over.
Wait. Okay. See, this is where you and I are going to get into a fight. When you say the dollar is dead, I know that's hyperbole. You don't. First of all, you are Frank Moneybags Woodbridge, okay? You're going to sit up here and tell me that you don't even use the dollar anymore? Are you walking into the corner store, scraping off a couple of shavings of gold bars to buy some Haagen-Dazs? Come on, bro.
No, you won't. Pretty soon you will have a gold debit card. Forget about the dollar be done. And you go in there and you just flash the gold debit card. I was talking to Roland. I was telling him when I was a kid in the 60s, you could walk into the supermarket with $200. You walk out with two carriages and you have a bag in your hand.
Oh yeah.
Today you have that little bag, that little box over there when you walk.
You know what? You're so right about this. Let me tell you something. When my wife, by the way, Roseanne, if I want to treat Roseanne on the weekend, I take her to Target because every time we leave Target with maybe 2 bags worth of something, we're talking about little shopping bags, we will spend at least $350. 2 bags.
That's it. And if you really want to put a blame on somebody who's responsible for this, you're not going to believe this. It happened on August 15th, 1971, when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. Since then, the U.S. dollar has lost 90% of its value against gold. And do you know why he did it? He was pressured to do it by the military complex.
So what happens? So what happens if we get to the point where the dollar is worthless? Which, by the way, I don't think it's happening because you have so many people fighting against the elimination of the dollar. Because that's, in essence, what they're trying to do. They are trying to eliminate cash. And there are people fighting back, from Mark Levin to Michael Savage. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's writing a book about it now, talking about the end of the dollar. That's never going to go. But I know you're saying that the dollar's worthless. Don't you have any confidence in this administration that the dollar can can have a resurgence all?
No, because to have confidence in the U.S. dollar, you have to have confidence in politicians. And I have no confidence that they're going to do the right thing and solve the debt. We're going to be at $40 trillion in debt by the end of the year, and $240
Where are we at now? 37?
We're at 38.6 by the end.
And you don't think we're going to see that? We don't think that you're going to see that scale down?
It's not. No, it isn't. We have to refinance $11 trillion this year at double the rate we were paying on it. Reese, we're going broke in a hurry. The dollar's dead.
Okay, so what are you going to do with all the gold bars? You're an older guy now. You can't take it with you. The one thing you never see behind a hearse is a U-Haul truck. What are you going to do with it?
I think what Trump's going to do is he's going to do what FDR did. He's going to revalue gold, and you're going to have to turn it in. And they'll give you a price on that gold. And I'll have 2 choices. Either I'll have to turn it in, or we're going to have to do what Assad did in Syria. We're going to have to get the family on a plane and go back to Sicily. That's it.
And then you go back to the scraping of the gold, right, to buy cannolis. You're going to scrape some gold off to get some cannolis?
No, because gold will not be illegal in Europe like it was in 1933. Gold was illegal to have in 1933 in America, but not in Europe.
Yeah, but my question is what do you do with the gold? Because you have to, in essence, it'll be your currency. So how do you use it to buy basic things? Will there be a barter system? Will it be what will be the deal?
Right. What will happen is your wealth will be based on gold. You will have you know what a debit card is, right?
I know exactly what you mean.
Right. It will be based on your net worth of gold. If Trump doesn't revalue gold. If Trump revalues gold, they're going to give you 60 days to turn it in. If you don't, you're going to go to prison. This is what happened. This is why we had to become American citizens.
And that's the reason. Are you going to turn it in? Before I go to a break, are you going to turn in your gold if that's what he does?
Well, either that or we'll have to go back to Sicily. That's it.
I would hate to lose you, my friend. Let me take a break.
I would still call you.
I know you would.
Right.
You got it. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views. I'll talk about my experience at the Master School in West, was it? Whatever. Simsbury. Thank you. West Simsbury when we return. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. So I had been invited to go speak to the kids at the Catholic school called the Master's School in West Simsbury. And it's about 30 minutes out. And I knew I was going to be sort of pressed for time because I had to go there, roughly be there at about 11:30, take a tour, then speak to the kids. It was weird for me because I'd never really given a speech like that to young people in that way. At least only one other time in my career. So it was interesting. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about. So I wanted to sort of go in there and sort of give them my perspective on life and what I thought about life at their age. And I told them about, being homeless as a 15-year-old. And I began by asking some of the kids, if you're 15 years old in that age, raise your hands. And a lot of kids were. And I started my story by saying, when I was 15 years old, I was kicked out of my house. And I was living on the street on and off, mostly on, for 3 years, on cold days just like the one today. Kids kind of looked at me, wide-eyed as it was, and I was like, okay, this will get interesting. So I really didn't have a message for them, and I really didn't understand why my story should or would resonate with these kids. I mean, none of them are experiencing or would have experienced what I experienced in my life, and I didn't want to presume that they may be going, some school or teenage angst, if you will. I would imagine that some kids have just pretty much ordinary lives. Anyway, so I tell a little bit about my story and where it was, and I left them with one message, or at least I began with one message. And my message to them was, belief is for people who lack knowledge. If you really want anything to work in your life, you can't just believe. You have to know. You have to know. Whatever you want to understand in life, you have to have knowledge of it, not belief in it, knowledge of it to understand it. And know that no matter how rough it gets, you're going to be okay. That you know that God has your back. That you're going to go through those ups and downs and you're going to make it. Anyway, the discussion went on, and I talked to the kids, and I talked about how I got into radio, and that turned into a great discussion. And I wanted to keep that part short, and I just started taking questions from the audience, and I did. A couple of kids were a little shy at first. Some kids asked multiple questions. One kid asked, how long I was homeless. One kid asked a great question. During my homelessness, what was the toughest time? At what age was it tough? The toughest that you had to deal with. And I was thinking at the time, was it when I was 15, 16? I was really, really young out there. But I told them when I was 18. That was tough because everybody I knew who was 18 was doing something with their life, and I wasn't. And it was a psychological thing. It was was I ever going to be able to do the things that those kids were doing, either graduating or moving out or going places, traveling? I didn't see that happening for me. So I didn't get bitter, but, I didn't get bitter or anything like that. But there was one kid that waited until the last possible time to ask me a question. And it was about me being homeless. And I got to admit, this kid, Landon, boy, did he ask a question that I wouldn't have expected it because I was doing great in my own view. But he asked a question that broke me. And when we come back, I'll tell you exactly what that was. So stand by. Let's get our first check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher. He is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
So as I was saying before the break, I get down to the master's school to go talk to the kids there and, of course, some of the administrators there. And it was a great experience. It's a beautiful campus, even with all the snow. I think the snow even makes it better. What I thought was great is that recess had all the kids outside climbing on the big mountains of snow. And that just reminded me, I was like, wow, they used to let us do that when we were kids. They used to let us go out and play in the snow. But this was like mountains to these small preschool kids. It looked crazy. I'm like, what are these kids going to fall down the thing? Anyway, we get there. I get there and I do the whole, talking to them a little bit, telling them a little bit about my story. Anyway, kids, as I said, were asking questions. And there were some great questions in the group, too. Many of them asked multiple, just kept coming back to us. And I was happy to see that, kids can be very reticent. They, don't want to answer like, oh, I'm nervous. I don't want to bring attention to myself. But after they started to see other kids ask, a lot of them jumped in. Anyway, so they're asking this question. One kid asked me, which seems like a great question to ask, says, what was your favorite food? Like, what did you eat when you were homeless? And I told him that my favorite food, I didn't even tell him that the actual thing, but when I say specifically, but I told him that we had Hydrox cookies, and that I ate a lot of as a kid because they were cheap, and I was a big cookie guy. Still kind of a cookie guy. Anyway, and peanut butter cookies were my thing. And, of course, everybody, laughed about that. And I was telling them back in the days, those things were like 50 cents. It was like way before you kids' time. And I talked to them about how I started my career on September 11th. And these kids are clearly too young to remember any of that. But they knew about it. And talking about that and talked about my journey and all of that. Anyway, it was great. And then finally, this one last kid says to me, what was your best meal ever? And I went, 2016 in Tampa. I had a porterhouse steak about this big, cost $150. And he goes, no. What was the best meal you ever had when you were homeless? And I said, oh. And I started to cry. It was the best question and the worst question ever. I'll tell you what I said in a minute when we get back. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. How are we doing, Mark?
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Anyway, we'll get into stupidest thing I read today. I keep getting, I have to go to a break. Anyway, the kid's name was Landon at the master school, and he asked that question, what was the best meal you ever had? And I thought he was just asking a general question. No one had ever asked me this question before in my life. I don't think anyone's ever asked that question, but when he did, what was the best meal you ever had? I was just thinking, I remember the best meal I ever had, and it was that porterhouse steak that I had in Tampa in 2016 at a place called Charlie's, of all things. I was there with my then wife, Mary, going to visit her cousin, and it was a great day. Anyway, great night, I should say. And I had also had alligator that day. You're from Louisiana. You've obviously had alligator before, right? That's like a thing to you folks, right?
Of course.
Yeah, okay. By the way, not a fan.
You don't like it?
Nah.
How'd you have it, though?
To be honest, I wouldn't know how. I just know I had it, and I had it like it was calamari made kind of deal.
Yeah,
not good?
You have it on the grill, man.
On the grill?
Yeah, you gotta have it on the grill. Or either some gator bites fried. Yeah.
Okay, I know it was gator bites. That much I know. And I don't know. It's kind of chewy. I didn't like it. I don't know. But it was still one of the best meals I ever had. I don't know. It wasn't my thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not.
I don't eat it all the time.
You don't, huh?
No.
Do you have it in gumbo?
No.
Oh, okay. You're not supposed to put it in there?
No.
Really?
No. That is a no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What would I know?
No gator and gumbo. No way.
Okay. All right. Wasn't sure. Is it only seafood?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that either.
Yes. I mean, you could have like ham bites and.
Oh, okay.
Like my mama put little chicken wings in there too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But yeah, it's predominantly a seafood dish.
Ooh.
Crabs and shrimp and.
See how naive I am, or as I like to call it, ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah,
that's why that's why I'm always open and honest. Like if I don't know something, I would say I don't know. If I've just like the black solidarity, I never heard of it. I could have played it off and been like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but why?
Yeah, I hear you.
Just be honest.
So when he asked me, he says, "What was the best meal you ever had?" I was thinking that meal, and he goes, "No, best meal while you were homeless." And I thought that was an interesting question when he asked. I just went, "Wow, like what would even make a kid ask the question?" But I got to admit, it makes sense to me now that you would ask that. Because you are a person, Roland, who always talks about this, that food is home to you. You talk about that a lot. And it literally brought back a very solemn moment. And it was when I was 16. My former landlord, a guy by the name of Herbie, he had a German Shepherd that bit me on my elbow when I was a kid. He was actually, his dog is the reason why I was afraid of dogs for a long time. But he saw me one day and found out that I was homeless, and he invited me out to dinner. And he took me to dinner with all of his family and all his friends. He couldn't do anything for me, but he took me to dinner for my birthday at this place, which I'm going to put on the screen. A lot of people don't know this. A place called Beefsteak Charlie's. And it was the biggest and most important steak restaurant in town growing up in Queens. And he took me there, and it was all you can eat shrimp. And I just remember, yes.
Can't go wrong with that.
And it was all you can eat shrimp. And I remember that table. I remember how crowded it was. And that dinner. And the thing that choked me up, and the reason why it meant so much to me that Herbie did that for me. Imagine being homeless for over a year, someone taking you out just so you can have something for your birthday. And I told the kid, his name was Landon, and I said, the reason why it affects me so much is because it was the first time in a long time I had felt that I was loved. Mm-hmm. And that's what it, a meal is love.
Yeah, all out shrimp. You gotta love you gotta love that. Goodness gracious.
And I was a blubbering fool after he was the last question and I was doing okay. And he asked that, and that's it. I completely broke apart. And I was like, I cannot believe this kid got me to do that. I'm welling up now. Even thinking about it brought me back to that place. Not that I don't have a whole lot of resentment in that event in my life, but I don't even know what it was. But it did explain a lot about food with me. Right? It's like, it brings up all of these other things. Like, why do I have this disassociation with food? Because I had to eat to survive. It's like some people ate and there were things going on. Cooking is an event. I watched that movie Soul Food. Remember that back in the day? Yep. That's a great movie.
Yeah, it was.
One of my favorite, if you will, black films. It's such a good movie. And it stays away from all the stereotypical tropes. It's a really good film. And in fact, I tell people a lot, when people say, do you like any black movies? I'm like, Soul Food was a great movie. But that movie talks about why food is important to the family.
Yep.
And when there's a scene in the movie where there's a fire at the stove, and that is the central figure to the whole film. And I got it in that sense. I was just like, not that I identified with it, but I understood it. Because after Big Mama dies, that's all anyone can focus on in remembering her was her food.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've always had that disassociation with it. Like I had no association with food. So when he brings it up, I didn't realize how much that moment affected me. That sitting there laughing, telling stories, I also learned something interesting during that meal. I always tell it to the kids. So when Herbie paid for the dinner, it was himself, his wife, and I think it was 2 or 3 friends that were with him, taking them out on my birthday, telling everybody it was my birthday, everybody there celebrating. He was really making it very special for me. And at the end, I kept saying to myself as a kid, like, wow, he's spending a hell of a lot of money on me. And the check came, and I made the biggest mistake ever.
You looked at it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, man. Why would you do that?
I'm 16.
Yeah, but it's not.
I didn't know what the etiquette was. I didn't know what the etiquette was.
Damn.
Of course I didn't. I'm a kid. I'm from the slums. I don't know what that means. I did a stupid kid move. And I picked it up, and Herbie looked at me, and he says, you know, that means you have to pay it now. And I went, what? As I was just wondering, like, how much you had spent on all of this for me. And it was like, yeah, but you never pick up the check, not unless you plan on paying it. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. I was so scared. And at the same time, so embarrassed. I was like, I didn't know. I really didn't know. And he let it ride for a little while. Like, I was really, really nervous. Everybody else was very quiet. It was kind of like a little bit of a hazing. I didn't cry or anything, but I really felt embarrassed and ashamed. And he lightened up afterwards when he really thought that, when he got the picture that I was abundantly concerned that I'd made such a mistake in front of him after he'd done all this for me, and he let me off the hook. He was like, no, it's okay. He goes, I know you didn't know. He goes, but in the future, just so you know, you never pick up the check unless you're planning on paying for it. Which, again, brings to another story. So Roseanne and I, when we would go out with the whole family, her ex-husband, the son, her stepchildren, and all that other stuff, whenever we would go out, I would always pick up the check, no matter what the price was. We're talking like dinners at $500-$600. I would go find the waiter and pay it when no one's looking. They hate that. So on this boy's 17th birthday, 16th birthday, we go out to the diner. And his father was out of town, but he tells his wife, whatever you do, let Reese out of your sight. Pay for this breakfast. If you don't, Reese is going to pay for it. If you see him get up to the bathroom, find the waiter immediately and pay the check. Anyway, I say, all right, guys, we're going to a restaurant. I'll be right back. And I get up, and they are all talking. They come back. Everybody's finished talking, and we all get up, and they're like, his wife goes, where's the waiter? I go, no waiter, I already paid for it. She's like, damn it! Also taught me a lesson. Always cover the check. That's always been my thing. By the way, if you and your wife ever go out with me, you could damn well bet the check is going to be covered. I learned that from Herbie. And that's always been my style.
I'll make sure I order that $500 steak. What else you got on the menu?
I don't even eat this crap.
I wouldn't do that.
No, but Herbie taught me that. And there were so many things that I learned from him in that one dinner, just about etiquette, just how the way that you're supposed to behave. It's just a brilliant. And that boy, Landon, brought it up at the last question. And it was like my entire childhood, whoosh, just hit me. And I was there around all of these kids around the same age I was.
It's funny how that happens. How
is it wild?
Certain things in life just take you back in time.
I've never, and I'm telling you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, folks, and people who've met me, they know this. I am a very chipper and very fun-loving, and I would even go so far as to say happy-go-lucky type. Here in the office, I say hello to everyone. I say, how you doing? How's your day going? I don't get all, I don't inundate them when I'm the nicest guy in the room, but I'm always very pleasant. And I'm not bitter. I'm not angry at anything. I don't care about anyone else's celebrity or anybody else's status. I'm just happy to be here, happy to be of service. And I don't carry a lot of things. I have no chip on my shoulder. There's no reason for it. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. And that one moment, it didn't bring me back to a dark place. It just let me know that just in that moment, maybe there are still some things that, not that I need to reconcile with. That's a wrong way to look at it.
I think everybody has things that they've gone through and thought about and not got over, but kind of moved forward with life, and life has gotten so busy that it kind of pushed it to the back burner. Yeah. And then you'll get hit with something that reminds you about that feeling and those emotions that you felt at that time.
And I never thought that it was there. It's like it was something like somebody had triggered. I hate to use that term too, but it was like it. That's what it was. It triggered something in me, and I just went, wow, what a wave of emotions. But I have to end on this. I also have to say, I've got to say a big, huge shout out to Abigail. And I'll end on this because this was, aside from Landon, who
made you cry.
Oh, my goodness. I told his teachers afterwards, fail that kid. Whatever you do, fail that kid.
Give him an A++.
Yeah, he's probably going to do really well. He's new at the school. So I hope everybody embraces him, and he seems like a very, very outgoing kid. Thank you, Landon, for that moment. But Abigail, I got to give a shout out to, because as I was talking to a lot of teachers and the administrators, I see this young girl. Obviously, she's older than all of them, but she is shorter than everybody. And she walks up and she's this big bundle jacket, and she walks over to me, and I see her, and I don't know if she's a teacher or a student. Like, she's right at that sweet spot where she's old enough to be a teacher, but still young enough to be a student, and I couldn't really tell. And she walks up to me and she says, "Hi, I just want to let you know that I'm incredibly drawn to you." And I went, "Thank you." And she goes, "I didn't get to stay. I wasn't here for the beginning of your speech, but you started to talk about being homeless." And then she started to tell me her story, which I won't divulge here, but she started to tell me about her story, and she was relating that to me telling my story. And she just says, "Thank you so much for being here." And I was completely overwhelmed by her, to the point I was like, "Can I give you a hug?" She was like, "Yes, of course." So Abigail, thank you so much for sharing that with me, and every kid there at the Master School for sitting down and being a part of it. I know the boys have a basketball game coming up. Kick butt. You guys are on a winning streak, and I know you got a tough game coming up. I don't even know who you're playing, but don't lose. Don't lose. And if you do, learn from it. Learn from it. That was part of my speech.
They say you never lose. You learn.
You learn. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And it was funny because I mentioned that, and one of the kids says, he goes, "Man, when you said that about learning to lose makes it better. You don't, because you can't learn anything. You can't win. You can't enjoy the win unless you lose." And he says, "Yeah, we were just talking about how we got a tough game coming up, and we've had such a winning streak."
That was on my latest episode of my podcast.
Was it?
Yeah, I had to tell my daughter, because she was so concerned with doing her first solo. I had to let her know, mess up.
Yeah.
It's okay. Mess up, because you're not going to get to where you want to go if you don't mess up.
Nobody learned a thing by getting it right.
Yep.
It's absolutely true. Courtney, actually. Can you have Courtney from Fresno, who calls the show?
Oh, yeah.
She was,
Courtney
Ann. She was the one who said that. She goes, "No one ever learned a thing by winning."
Yeah,
says you got to lose in order to learn.
That's how you fine tune.
Yeah, it's a brilliant way to look at the world. Let's take another glance at weather and traffic, because it is cold out there. It's like refrigerator cold.
Oh, yeah.
Out there. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
No crocodile or alligator in gumbo. That's what I learned that today from you guys, so thank you very much.
I didn't know any of that.
You really ate alligator, though?
I did.
Wow. You're a brave dude.
Man, that's good. Hey, Mark, it's good stuff.
Is it?
It's good, real good meat. They got some real good meat on alligator. You wouldn't even believe it.
All right.
I don't.
All right. Can I just stick to chicken? Is that all right?
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, let's do it.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
By the way, if you are on X, if you are on the account X, go to my X page now. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. New video of Alex Pretti has just been released, and it don't look good. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Now let's get to the stupidest thing I read today. The city of Southfield, a Detroit suburb, has reached a $3.25 million settlement with the family of Tamisha Beauchamp, a 20-year-old woman who was mistakenly pronounced dead in August of 2020. Paramedics responded to her home after she experienced breathing difficulties. After resuscitation efforts and consultation with an emergency physician over the phone, she was declared deceased. Her body was placed in a body bag and transported to a funeral home. Later that day, when the bag was opened to move her body to a casket, staff observed her gasping for air and showing signs of life, including opening her eyes, per some accounts. She was rushed to the hospital but never fully recovered and passed away on October 18th of 2020 at Children's Hospital in Detroit. The settlement solves a long-running lawsuit alleging negligence by Southfield's emergency services during the incident, which occurred amid the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. The city described the circumstances as extraordinarily difficult. In a statement, no admission of wrongdoing was included in the agreement. Related developments, including temporary suspension of the involved paramedics' licenses, which Michigan authorities later agreed to reinstate if they passed a national exam. Now, this, again, was one of those things that happened during the pandemic that always bothered me. That so many paramedics were hands off that you could put a body in a body bag. Now, from what I understand about Tamisha, was that Tamisha suffers from a learning disability. So she has difficulty communicating. I don't know if she's autistic or has Down. I'm not exactly sure what she does, but I saw a photograph of her in the AP story, and she's clearly developmentally challenged. So she could not articulate to people what she was experiencing. But the fact that they put the girl in a body bag and then transported her to where they opened up the body and she awake. Ugh. I would have freaked out. Because guys like Roland believes in ghosts. What would you have done if somebody come out of a body bag flipping out? What would you have done? I anticipated you would run, but I thought you'd articulate that differently. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Mark, what would you do if somebody opened up a body bag and the person jumped up gasping for air? Would you just bolt out? Would you freak out?
I'd probably buy him a beer. I say, you want some saltines or you want some pretzels with that? I said, come on and join us. Come on and join the party.
Out of a body bag, you would think to get them a beer first. You wouldn't just
whatever.
Water would probably be appropriate.
Yeah, we probably have to rehydrate the person. That's not a bad idea.
Well, at least you wouldn't run.
No, I'd be like, hey, welcome back. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day for you.
There you go, exactly.
Things are definitely looking up right now for you.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080 WTIC.
So, it's got to be embarrassing for these folks all day, every day, to be so on the wrong side of these stories. I mean, usually it's just every time you turn around. And I don't even don't want to be right about this stuff. As I start paying attention to things, and that's the reason why you folks come here, is that you know that you can trust me when I'm paying attention to these stories, that it's always going to end up being the thing I told you it was. And now there is a video that is surfaced. And we knew it was going to surface because this was a rabble-rouser, like it or not. This individual was a violent person. And I said this yesterday. Listen very closely. If you missed it, I'm going to say it to you again. When we were talking about Renee Good I said, we were led to believe that this was just like a PTA mom. She wasn't some violent thug. She wasn't a radical extremist. It didn't make sense. She dropped her kid off at school. She was just driving and she was perpendicular to the road, but she wasn't somebody who was impeding ICE. She wasn't in ICE's faces. They just shot her down like a dog. And I said, okay, we'll see. It doesn't make sense. A good law-abiding citizen, police officers, ICE agents, the scary Gestapo, according to guys like John Larson, according to guys like, Jamie Raskin, according to Tim Walz and Jacob Frey, the evil Gestapo Nazis come up to this obviously docile woman's car, and uncharacteristically, she drives away. And then we get the videotape. Turns out her significant other is a rabble-rouser. She's pushing back on police verbally. Go get some lunch, big boy. You can't do anything here. Antagonizing them. There to stop them and impede them. And nobody can explain to me why this law-abiding, good-natured, pun intended, woman would step on the gas and hit an ICE agent. Sure enough, she did all of those things. And turns out she did hit the guy because we saw the video. And as much as people kept trying to do the whole say her name nonsense, it fell flat. Didn't change anybody's minds, and it became very difficult to martyr her, especially as more and more people found out that she was putting her kids in a radical fundamentalist day school. And at the same time, people couldn't answer one fundamental question about Renee Good, and that is, if you loved your child and you would never, ever put that child in danger, why were you putting yourself in danger, leaving that child motherless? Just didn't make sense. And people couldn't come up with a good enough excuse about it. But guess what? As things happen, they got the next foil. Alex Pretti. He seemed like he was protecting a woman. He was being pushed and shoved around. He seemed fairly innocent to all of them. So innocent that CNN and MSNBC had to doctor his photo to make him so more appealing, because he wasn't just appealing on his own, which should make you ask the first question. If this guy was an innocent dude, just looking at him should have been enough for you to feel empathy. But we know that's not true. Something about him didn't sit right to the news media that they had to doctor and AI his photo. That should have been the first warning. But it wasn't. You guys still argued it. And then you said that he was a peaceful guy. And we couldn't seem to square with that. Why bring a loaded gun with magazines? It didn't make sense. Not from the left. You guys are anti-gun. Yes, he was a law-abiding. Like, for some odd reason, all of the times you guys have fought against the Second Amendment, today, you guys are strong supporters of the Second Amendment and a man's right to carry a weapon. You sound like absolutists all of a sudden. But guess what? We didn't say anything. Okay. Sure enough. And then we get a story yesterday. Well, this was not a chance encounter with Alex Pretti and the ICE agents. Turns out a week before he died, he was pulled to the ground where he broke a rib. An ICU nurse, who was a loving and caring guy who loved his patients, was out there tussling with ICE agents to the point where he broke a rib just a week before he got into another altercation. It didn't wash, seemed suspicious, and I mentioned it here. Oh, and I also mentioned that a week before he died, he wasn't carrying a gun. Because guess what, folks? In the first altercation when they brought him to the ground where he ended up breaking a rib, You would think the ICE agents would have pat him down to make sure he was not carrying any dangerous weapons. They are law enforcement, by the way. And everybody here knows, even you on the left, you cannot dispute. An officer would be a derelict of his duty if he was in possession of Alex Pretti after tussling with him and bringing him down to the ground and not searching his pockets for a dangerous weapon to make sure that they were safe. Because they did end up letting him go. They didn't arrest him. Because after that tussle and breaking a rib, you would think he'd be very agitated if he did have a gun, and he would seek retribution immediately. But he didn't. He was sent about his way. And now this new video arises. And it shows Alex Pretti spitting and kicking at officers while they're in their SUV, kicking so violently that he broke the passenger side rear light of the SUV the ICE agents were in, screaming erratically like a maniac. He doesn't look so peaceful. He doesn't look like an ICU nurse anymore. He's starting to look like the domestic terrorist that he was called, that Stephen Miller called, that a lot of people were saying. This guy appears to be someone who was enraged and wanted to commit acts of violence on ICE agents. And he came to that place, that interaction, with a loaded weapon. All of it that you tried to sell to us is out the window now. You got no wins. It's over. Let it go. But it's not like you haven't been here before. It's sad that we have to keep score. But if we don't, you folks will come back out. We know what's going to happen the next time around. Something like this will happen, and you'll tell us that it's this thing, and it never turns out to be that way. And then you guys will scurry like the roaches you are. Sorry, that's just the way roaches behave. Because you should be able to stand there and say, all right, man, we were wrong. Maybe Ilhan Omar knew this video was out there. Maybe she changed the story. Maybe she did that on purpose. Made herself the focus because she knew this video was out there. I mean, but that's what they are out there for, folks. Do you not know that? That's what they're out there for. It's not just to fight ICE. It's to perform on camera, to give the impression that the rebellion is here. These bozos think they're Luke Skywalker. These guys think that they're Wedge. These guys are out there saying, we're fighting the evil empire. And they're bringing guns and they're bringing weapons. And everybody is, and they're, by the way, they're all on camera with the liberal media in tow. They'll shoot you. They're white supremacists. They're murderers. They're the Gestapo. They're Nazis. They will kill you. They don't care about the Americans. They're shooting Americans. By the way, folks, make sure you go out there. They'll kill you. Make sure you're out there. They're on First and Elm Street. Get out there, get out there, get out there. They'll murder you. They shoot them on sight. Get out there on the streets. Grab them. Exercise your First Amendment right. Even your Second Amendment right if you have to. They're murdering them. Make sure you're out on the street. They want your blood. They want you to do their bidding. You're pawns to them. And they'll show up on the nightly news every day singing your praises. Look at these people out there expressing themselves. They're fed up. Unwashed rabble-rousers. And as the narrative goes away, nobody comes back in and says, yeah, we were wrong about this guy. Let's go back to the original photo of him. We apologize for doctoring his photo to make him more appealing. We'll go back to his other photo so we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming instead of the programming that we were trying to fill your heads with before. Go watch the video. I put it on my Facebook page. It's over on X. You can watch it yourself. This is, again, days before he was shot and killed by an ICE agent. Again, I said it before, I'll say it again. He didn't deserve to die. That's not what that's about. Nobody should have to die. But Alex Pretti is not the guy that you said he was. And that's because you didn't know him. The scary part is that, and this is true, those of you who are supporting folks like Renee Good and Alex Pretti, you talk about them like you know them. You did it with George Floyd. You did it with Michael Brown. You did it with Trayvon Martin. You are out there compassionate, as you always pretend to be. You know their struggle. Look at him. He was a little boy. Look at him. He just graduated from high school. Look at him. He just had a counterfeit $20 bill. Look at him. He was just trying to make money to feed his family selling Lucy cigarettes. Eric Garner. I remember all the names. Look, he was just out there selling drugs because he can't get a regular job. Freddie Gray. I know them all. I know all their names. And I know all their backstories, too. He was just getting Skittles. Trayvon Martin. I know all the stories. And then we peel back the layers. And you guys forget about them. Once the award shows are done with, you guys forget they even exist. Where's Trayvon's mom now? Where's she? Anybody got time for her? She doing any guest appearances anywhere? Or did you guys forget about her? What about Trayvon's daddy? Huh? Anybody? Is he out there? You got a civil rights organization or something? How about Michael Brown's stepfather, who said, burn this place down after Darren Wilson was in charge? Where's he at? He running those folks went all the way to Geneva to talk about Michael Brown. Where are they today? We need to do a special. Where are they today? Charlatans. We need to do that story. Alex Pretti. Another failed attempt at pulling at your heartstrings. You guys claim that you know these folks, and it turns out you know nothing about them. We in opposition know more about the people that you promote because you don't care. You see an opportunity and you jump at it. But that's what happens when you don't know you don't even understand embarrassment. That's what it is. You have no shame. But you should. You should. Anyway, let's get another check of traffic and weather. Before we get up out of here in the last hour of the program, stand by for that. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Roseanne says that when the cold reaches your chest, that's a bad thing. And this is going to sound crazy, but I don't believe that. Because the worst part of this cold was having the sniffles. I hated that. It's just like the running of the nose was just, it is distracting. You know what it's like? It's like water torture. You know, the constant running of having to grab tissue and blow your nose. That is annoying. It's the worst part of any cold. Having it in your chest, I don't care about that. Everybody says you shouldn't have it because that's, a head cold should never go to your chest. But I'm like, I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm like, okay, it's a little bit of pressure. It seems all gravelly and all that other stuff, but I feel good. I feel great. I told you it wasn't going to be even that long, and my voice is coming back. Annoying as it may be for some, but it's coming back. I don't even feel like I'll be done tomorrow, if tonight. Now, back in the days, you know how I used to solve a cold real fast? A lot of people do a lot of weird things. You know what I would do when I was younger? I would drink, should I say it? Why not? Don't try this at home. Whatever you do, don't try this at home. You kids, too, don't. So, but the guy Reese on the radio said it. Don't listen to me. A 40 ounce of Oldie. A 40 ounce of Old English 800 malt liquor. Worked every time. I know I shouldn't even talk about it, but that was the way we did it back in the 90s. Well, it was actually, it was in the 90s. But don't ever do that. You shouldn't even. You should always feed a cold with, something like tea and chicken noodle soup. That's what you should always have. And no Robitussin. Don't do the Robitussin thing. I don't even think does that work anymore? Yeah, okay. Beckman says, whiskey. Roseanne says, the worst part is having fluid seeping into your lungs. You have to be very careful. I'm being careful. Mark Christopher, he's in a BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Why did I even bring this up with my wife in the chat room? She's telling me everything. I got to take crazy, Lithuanian tea. I got to put 2 drops of lemon, shavings of ginger. I got to do some sort of brujeria dance around it. Do you ever have to go through that? Can't we just take just a simple, zinc, and then that be it?
Yeah, that's why I don't tell her anything, so I don't have to listen to the...
You don't have to, right?
Yeah, I just don't tell her.
Does she do the whole thing like putting a towel on your head and making you sit over the stove with steam coming up? Do you have to go through that?
Not to that extreme, but, I get a lecture. Oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. It's like, okay.
When men are sick, the only thing we want is to be left alone.
Yeah. Just try to keep the lecturing down to a minimum, please, while we're sick. That's all we ask.
It's Reese on the radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
My wife is over here asking me, why do I whine so much? There's a reason why I whine when I have a cold, because it's annoying. And nothing ever annoys me than my health. If my health goes bad, it's something worth being annoyed about and whining about. I whine about nothing. I don't whine about you spending all the money. There's a lot of stuff that I don't whine about. Anyway, let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. What's going on, Jerry? How are you?
Hey, can you hear me okay, Reese?
Pretty good, sir. What's up?
Hey, it's not why I'm calling, but when I heard you mention Old English 800, it brought back...
Sorry.
It brought back a memory when I was an underage drinker.
Okay.
And I asked a gentleman sitting on the sidewalk outside a liquor store to go in and get me a bottle of Night Train Express.
Wow.
And he did, but his reply was, and I'll say it as not without the accent, if you drink a bottle of Night Train Express and a 6-pack of Old English 800, you'll be high for 3 days. Wow. And it was actually high for 1 day, sick for 2. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I heard Old English 800.
Yeah, a lot of people don't mention it.
A programming point, after listening to your brilliant takedown of the Minneapolis narrative, what I hear screaming through the radio is, you should be nationally syndicated.
Oh.
Other than the fact I could never get in once you were, you absolutely should be nationally syndicated.
Thank you, sir.
Your ability to dissect the BS machine and make some sense of truth out of it is truly remarkable.
Thank you, sir.
So, anyway, here's real quick as a follow-up. I called the other day and I said, the 3 things behind this protest in Minneapolis are, deportations equals voter suppression. The Democrats. And to distract from the fraud scandal. Mm-hmm. But in the particular case of Tim Waltz, there's a China connection, possibly.
I think so, too.
But here's just when I was thinking, gee, that was a little bit speculative. Maybe the men in the white coats are going to come and throw me in the booby hatch. I'm watching TV last night, Jesse Waters, I won't name program names, and guess what?
No, that's okay. I'm a big fan. I DVR them every day.
They found one of the big financiers of the Renomobs is a left-wing Marxist activist who's living in, wait for it, Red China.
That's right.
So there is a Chinese connection to this Marxist attempt to create an insurrection.
And as Bill O'Reilly said, which I wish that Bill O'Reilly would at least go on Jesse's show, because wow, talk about a cyclical thing, because Jesse Waters is now in the program slot that he used to produce for Bill O'Reilly, but he should have Bill O'Reilly on, because Bill was just raving about that on News Nation. And the guy's name was it Roy Singham? And he's married to the head of Code Pink, which, again, a lot of people point out, you guys are financed by Red China, and you come in here in the United States to do exactly as you describe, to disrupt it, which is, again, the point that I made yesterday about this mercenary tyranny, which is it's nothing more than mercenary traders, because they are taking money from a foreign entity, a foreign country, which in essence is this guy who is under the cover of Red China, and allowed to come here and do exactly what Red China wants, and that's to disrupt the politics of this country.
And agreed. And now there's, as they say, the receipts are there.
Yep.
I guess the extended issue is Red China's play for destabilizing the U.S. Something to defend their massive interest in Iran. They don't want to see the Iranian government fall. So
that's
they're
right.
creating a domestic distraction.
Oh, man, would that ruin things, because Venezuela being out in that region, Iran would just be another one. The chips would keep falling and falling and falling for China to keep influencing the West, which it means to do.
Well, I got to say, keep up the great work. It's if you keep digging, and I didn't realize that they put an AI photograph, of this guy out there to make him look more appealing. Surprised they didn't put up a baby picture of him. I think that's with Trayvon Martin. I think they're
the photos were 12. Yeah, they put up a picture of him when he was 12 years old, and that was the reason why nobody believed it was him when they finally showed the photo of him at the 7-Eleven. They saw this tall, lanky kid, and they went, "That's not Trayvon." And they go, "Yup, that's Trayvon today." So
did you hear the rest of that story, that the woman that testified as the girlfriend on the phone with him wasn't actually, she was an imposter?
That's correct. Destiny is the girl's real name. The girl who showed up at court was a girl by the name of Rachel John Tull, who everybody says, or at least a documentary about Trayvon Martin's death says that she was a ringer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then the thing she was talking about on the phone was, Don't let a gay guy grab you, because they rape virgins for some sort of protection.
You're 100% right. I tell people that all the time. I said, I'll never forget the day that Rush Limbaugh said it on the air. It's like, people will not believe that the left, if they knew that Trayvon Martin was homophobic, that they would lose their minds. And people tried to go after Rush with that, but then he played John Tull's testimony in the courtroom, and people had to shut up, because that's exactly what was displayed. The reason why he accosted George Zimmerman when he came around the corner and said, "Hey, why are you following me?" is because John Tull says in the courtroom that she accused George Zimmerman, or at least led on that he should be concerned that George Zimmerman was trying to attack him or sexually assault him that night. And nobody, and people act like they didn't happen. I'm like, you obviously didn't watch the case. I did.
This is why we need talk radio.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again, Reese. Appreciate the time.
You got it, man. Let's go to Ann. Thank you for holding, Ann. In Florida?
Yeah.
Hey, Ann. Thank you for joining the program.
I'm not going to. We've talked before, but I have not been. I've been listening, but not been around.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
It's nice to talk to you again.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm not going to do your last caller justice, and I choose not to even try.
Okay, that's okay.
The reason why I'm calling is because I am a graduate of the master's school.
Are you?
I thought you would like that.
I love that.
There was, I think, 12 kids in my graduating class, and I think I was fourth.
I'm sorry, you were who? You were fourth?
Fourth.
Oh, goodness gracious. 12 people in your graduating class, and you were the fourth person in, like, number 4?
In GPA.
Oh, my goodness. So you were fourth out of all of 12 kids. That's actually not bad.
I think it's pretty amazing.
That's it. Type 33%. So, Ann, real quick, since you went to the master school, I'm assuming it's on the same campus you went, right?
No. I was in the last class that graduated from the old Nike site on Route 10 in downtown Simsbury.
Oh.
Right across from. It's all housing now, but it was right across Route 10 from, I think it was called Helco.
Yeah.
It was like a Hartford Electric Company, maybe.
Well, I don't know if you've seen the new campus. It's beautiful. It looks like a summer camp. It's all cabins kind of deal, but it's just beautiful.
So when I went to Masters, which was literally in an old Nike site, okay, Westledge High School that was the Westledge High School campus, which was also another private school. Oh, and before I go on, I have to tell you, Masters is not a Catholic school, it's a Protestant school, and it's sponsored by, unless they've been completely taken over by
by Catholic Archdiocese. I always thought they were Catholic. Okay, but go ahead.
Unless they've been completely taken over by the Catholic Church, which I know nothing about.
Okay.
They're sponsored by a Presbyterian church out on Farm Hill Lane, Fire Hill.
Okay.
Out that way and towards the west of Simsbury. But anyway.
Yes, ma'am.
Firetown Road. Mm-hmm. My husband just we're on the radio. He's going to leave now.
That's okay. And real quick, because I want to get to one more call. What was that the point you just wanted to share, that you went to the school and you had a wonderful experience?
I wanted to say I knew the school. I lived the school for 3 years. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life.
The people there are fantastic.
The people were wonderful. Westledge campus was a tourist attraction, and then we used to sneak onto the property to go to the Westledge Reservoir.
To go swim, I presume.
Yeah. I taught my dog how to swim in Westledge Reservoir.
Idyllic times. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you calling and sharing it with us.
Okay.
You got
it. Thank you. You're the best. Bye to Roseanne. Bye.
I will. I promise I will. Let's go to Joe in Durham. Hello, Joe.
Reese, how you doing, my man?
Pretty good, sir. What's up?
Hey, just calling in with a little breaking news. I'm not sure if you heard.
Okay.
About Georgia?
Yes. By the way, I was going to talk about that in the next half hour, but I'll give it to you. So, according to the FBI, they have now raided the Fulton County, what is the official name of the place?
The Fulton County, I think it's called the Election Center.
Yes, that's correct. And FBI agents are there. Now, you may remember this, that Donald Trump, during his, I guess it was some sort of speech, I think it was last week, where he said that there were some developments that you're going to hear about in the news as they, according to the 2020 election. It was some speech that he was giving. I can't remember what it was, but it was an economic speech of such.
I think you're right, and I think he did say we're going to see prosecutions for it.
That's correct. And everybody said that was a little bit of news that nobody covered.
Right. And remember a year ago, the Georgia State Election Board sued Fulton County.
That's right.
To get hold of those ballots, and the court said, "Yeah, you got to hand them over." And it's been a year, and they refused to hand them over. So now we got a little justice coming our way.
Yeah, listen, whatever. We wouldn't get an FBI raid of a location if they didn't have the goods already. And I think what we are about to see is going to be so poo-pooed to the level of, and I almost feel like every person in the world will bring on every pundit in the world to sort of, kind of dump some water on this and say, it's not a big deal, folks. It's over. Are you saying that the 2020 election was rigged? And they'll make that whole argument. But I think as the evidence comes out, it will be absolute. I think it'll be something that will just embarrass anybody who tries.
got to hear him on MSN. Now, we have no idea why they would be there. These people gotta come. I can't wait. It's going to be freaking glorious.
Yeah, hey, listen, you know what? People thought that last year, because there was nothing that came of it, as I said, and I know you listen to the show often enough, I told everybody, relax. The first year was setting everything up. Next year, we start knocking them down.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for calling, buddy.
Oh, I'll talk to you later.
You got it. It's glorious to see. I'm glad that it's happening. Now we sit, we wait. It won't be long. We'll see all the, Where was Chris Murphy? Did he have a statement? I know he spoke up about Ilhan Omar. Does he have a statement about this? About the election? Everything that Donald Trump does and this Department of Justice does, Chris Murphy's already got something to say. I'm going to go look up his X page, see if he actually said anything. Yeah. You know what? We'll take a break. We'll check some weather and traffic, and then I'll go check Chris Murphy's site on his X account and see if he's screaming and hollering about Donald Trump stealing the midterms based upon this FBI action. We'll see. We'll be back. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. He'll be back. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
Remember, I always tell you, go and check out WTIC.com. That's WTIC.com. I have my own little personal competition with the other host on the show. They don't know anything about it. I've not cued them in on my personal competition with them. They don't know anything about it. They don't know if there are any prizes. I'm just trying to beat them. So in order to do that, you got to go to WTIC.com and check out the podcast whenever you can. If not, download the Odyssey app. I had this phone locked off the thing ever since it fell down, and I forgot to put it back. Anyway, download the Odyssey app as well. And if you can't do that, always remember to go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's REESE on the radio.com. I've got 2 new articles on my Substack. One about Jacob Frey and Tim Walz. It's called The Last Stands of Walz and Frey. And also an article about the corruption, the alleged corruption, going on at the Blue Hills Civic Unity, whatever place, that involves Senator Doug McCrory. So check both of those out. Become a subscriber of my Substack so you can be alerted to the next article, which usually comes out on Sunday at roughly 7:30 a.m. In fact, it's sort of timed at 7:30. I write it Saturday night, and then you guys get it Sunday morning. And you can also find it on X, and that's at Reese on the Radio on X. So you just go at Reese on the Radio if you are on X, formerly Twitter, for those of you who still call it that. And you can find all of my handles at ReeseOnTheRadio.com to check out anything and everything on the show. People are calling me all the time here. Rusty. Oh, was it? Oh, okay. That was Rusty who tried to call me, and he wanted to leave a message. Rusty is one of my faithful supporters back in Virginia, who's a big fan of the show. But he is, you guys would like Rusty. If I ever introduced you to this guy, imagine a guy who's like a tall motorcycle driving. He's like a cross between Chris Christopherson and what's the other one's name? Peter Fonda. Yeah, that's exactly. So Chris Christopherson meets Peter Fonda. Peter Fonda a la, what was the name of that? Easy Rider, kind of Peter Fonda look. When I first saw Rusty, he was talking about Zoom calls, and he was talking about how much he hated them. And I just thought it was weird because for some odd reason he just had this very cool demeanor. He's very cool and laid back. And I said, I like that guy. I don't have a friend like that. And he's probably been one of my best friends ever. You guys would love him. I hope he comes to Connecticut soon. Let's get a check of weather and traffic. Mark Christopher is in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Before I call it a wrap, let me take a quick phone call from Louise, who's calling from New Britain. Hello, Louise.
Hi, I just wanted to make a correction on that. The announcement of the traffic is John Downey Drive.
Oh, okay.
John Downey Road. Some people might not recognize it otherwise. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate you calling and filling us in. And thank you for listening, even if it is just for the traffic jam.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Louise. Anyway, we're about to get up out of here, and I just want to say again, thank you, folks, over at the Master School. It was an amazing experience. I think I will keep that with me for the rest of my life. Having the opportunity to do that meant the world to me. I don't even know. I tell you, I don't even know what to say. And it's every day I keep waking up thinking to myself, how can it get better? Right? How could everything about this get better? And it keeps getting better. I want you guys to know that. It's not lost on me. The things that you guys say about this program, about this host. I just want you to know that I come here to deliver every day, and I can't hit it out the park every day, but, maybe I'll, hit hit a double, triple, maybe even, inside the park home run. Hopefully, it's like, I just hope to deliver. I try my best to. And when the days don't have a lot of news, I try to make it as entertaining as I possibly can. And you guys have always said to me that it isn't just the same humdrum radio show, and that means everything to me. It's what I tried to bring to you. It's like you got it, and it's hard to convey that without having to tell people, and I'm trying not to tell you and see if you get it, and you do, because you're a brilliant audience. And, I always laugh when during a championship game, Pittsburgh Steelers, the owner will come out and say, we've got the best fans of anybody in the NFL. And the crowd goes, what? And it's a great thing to say, right? Of course, that you want to show the appreciation to the people who show up and buy a $12 hot dog. Those people make it happen. But the reason why you guys are the best is because you show up here for free. And maybe it's because it's free, but you still show up. And you could be doing anything in the world, but you choose to listen to and watch this program. And some of you, like the scallywags who do it religiously, Monday through Friday, you are here with me, riding alone, even if I'm just talking to those guys, even though I know there are far more people listening. It means things. It means so much to me. It probably means more than you'll ever understand. This has been, it always is, a fantastic experience. And as I said in the beginning, it never fails. It gets better every time. I got the greatest producer in the world. I mean, he's won an Emmy, for crying out loud. But it does. It's the most fantastic experience. And all of you guys who help me out and be a part of this, and the text messages I get during the show, and the well wishes and the love, it's fantastic. John Beckman says, when I was a teenager, I worked construction. We had what was called a stack of bricks or a stack of lumber. We never said to a colleague, go and get it from the substack. I'm so done with him. You're not even a dad joke. You're worse than that. I love you, John, just so you know. By the way, John Beckman, to give you, I don't know if he ever posted a picture. I'm going to post a picture of John Beckman. He is, you know what John Beckman reminds me of? John Beckman reminds me of a tall John Denver if he played football. That's what John Beckman looks like. And I know you guys remember John Denver. I grew up with that. Thank you, Teresa. I love you too. And thank you for being a part of this journey. So anyway, tomorrow we'll have more details. In fact, I just got a message that we're going to see if we can find more details about the turkey baster who sprayed Ilhan Omar with apple cider vinegar. I'll see where that lead will lead me. So I'll have details on that tomorrow, plus all, of course, the latest news and views. We got a lot of changes that are coming to the show that are outside of the show that are going to be brought into the show. I just got some emails from my boss, Janine. I also had another conversation with some folks at sales that are going to. I'm just so excited for this year, 2026. I'm hoping is a banner year for me, for you, and everybody at WTIC as we embark on in February. I don't know if you guys know this, but we'll be celebrating 101 years. Jane, what was it? February 20th is our birth date here at WTIC, right? Yeah, February 20th. Because we have 3 significant days. And in fact, I will mention it. So it is the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th. And let me make sure that I got this right, because all of those days are significant. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I promise you I'm going to do something. So 17th, 18th, and 19th. Okay, so the 20th is our anniversary. So on the 17th, we have the memorial of the passing of Rush Limbaugh. It'll be 5 years on February 17th. On the 18th, the day after, it will be the anniversary of the passing of my producer, J.C. McGee. He is the man who I say, remember to keep J.C. in your hearts and in your minds. I started saying that the day after he died. And that's a reminder to me. Many people say that as I'm saying, remember to keep Jesus Christ in your hearts and in your minds. But I like both sort of points of view when it comes to that, because I think that deep down I'm sort of saying the same thing. Not that JC was my Jesus Christ, but he believed in me. He was the first person to call, and he was the last call that I had at night about the show, and he helped forge Reese on the radio. So that means the world to me. So 2 of my heroes, the 17th and 18th, they both passed on those days respectively. So I'm going to show them respect on that day. And, of course, we're going to celebrate the 101 year of WTIC as well. So I hope you'll join us for all of that. And I'll keep you posted as we get closer and closer to those days. To leave on a somber note, let me read this. Australian euthanasia advocate and physician Dr. Philip Nitsky, creator of the controversial sarcopod. I've talked about this on the program maybe about 3 years ago. It is a 3D printable capsule that uses nitrogen gas to cause hypoxia and death, has revealed development of a new, larger variant designed for 2 people. Called, okay, this should have been in my stupidest thing. Anyway, it's called the Double Dutch. The updated device would accommodate couples who wish to die simultaneously. Activation would reportedly require both individuals to press buttons at the same time to initiate the nitrogen release, addressing scenarios where long-term partners want to end their lives together, a pattern Nitsky has observed in his work over the past decade. In related comments, Nitsky has discussed incorporating AI software to evaluate a user's mental capacity and decision-making ability, potentially replacing traditional psychiatric assessments in assisted dying processes. He has described this as a possibility to streamline access in jurisdictions where assisted dying is permitted. Although no specific timeline or implementation details for the AI component of the couple's versions were provided. Now, the only reason why I say this is as scary as it could possibly get, we already have a ChatGPT issue where a young man talking to the Chat GPT convinced him to take his own life. We also have an AI story that was in the New York Times where the AI tried to convince a reporter tried to convince a reporter to divorce his wife. These are dangerous times, my friends. I like AI just as much as anyone else, but it does make you lazy. And I think it's highly influential, so it concerns the hell out of me. Craig in the car says, it's like a fatal double Dutch rudder. I guess it would be. It would be. I don't like the fact that it's called a double Dutch. That's not cool. I mean, I would say going Dutch would probably be appropriate. I mean, that's technically what it would be, going Dutch, because you are in essence going. Is that Stevie V? What's going on, sir?
I'm the last survivor member of my suicide club, and I lost my incentive.
What'd you say? You forgot what? I didn't hear that.
I said I'm the last survivor of my suicide club, and now I lost incentive. I don't want to.
What you got going on?
Well, do you know what WTIC did when it first started off? Was it music format, or what did they do? Do you know?
I do not, but from what I remember, and I've heard all of the commercials, that we really did cover a lot of news in the beginning. We did so many things that were news related, and we're talking like the quintessential news network. Like this was like in New York when they have 10-10 wins, like that was our format. It was like news on the 20s, weathers on the 8. It was like all of that stuff that 10-10 wins done. We were doing that 100 years ago.
What about covering some top stories from that day?
Man, I remember, well, in fact, I just saw this, and it was in a meeting that we had with Janine. She had all of these CDs with all the old broadcasts.
Really?
And it was stacks of them. I'm talking like stacks of them. And I was like, what are you guys going to do with them? They were like, I don't know. We archive them. I was like, you got to turn those things digital. It's like, what will we use it for? I don't know what you would use it for, but that stuff to me, maybe that's just me. I'm in my own little space here. That stuff would be priceless. I would love to go back to listen to those old cassettes and videos just to see what the atmosphere was like listening to it and sort of feeling like what that reporter was conveying. You know, I always listen to the Hindenburg thing, to just hearing that, the horror, the humanity. I'm so compelled by that.
Right. Well, I think maybe you can incorporate that a little bit, like especially if it's a story from way back when, like if they were talking about like getting Greenland back then or whatever.
Such a good point. You know what? And so I'll tell you what's so intuitive about what you're talking about. It's like it seems a little gratuitous, but I think it makes sense. Because remember when I did that whole monologue about the way that people were reacting after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, that people didn't know that there were reported fourth grade classes that were applauding his death.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was crazy. I did this whole story about how the fourth grade class in Texas was applauding like his death. This was reported in the news. Because at the same time, we were watching online people who were mocking the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And I was trying to tell people that, it was not like people were treating it like it was something new. It's like it wasn't. This thing has gone on, beyond our scope. That there were people who were just as absolutely reprehensible at a time like that. Because we look at it from the, 30,000 feet and we say John F. Kennedy, everybody had to be affected by that. And then when we get a little closer, we find out that people were just as cruel then.
If you know what day that was, can you send me a link at some point?
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I will look it up and I'll forward it to you.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
My pleasure, man. Always a pleasure, Stevie V.
Same here, brother.
You got it, man. Yeah, we got to get up out of here. It's, exactly. Cynthia said, historically it'd be good. It's sort of like, it's such a time capsule. It's like when people open up a time capsule 20 years around and you find out that there are still things that are going on then and we still do today. It's like we're not that far removed. The human relation is still the human relation. Sometimes when we think we've gotten too far from ourselves, we really, really never did. So those things are important. Anyway, we got to get up out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night and pleasant tomorrow, and we'll see you back here next time. Mark Christopher is getting you home in the cold. Be careful out there. Bundle up. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, sir.